Hi, welcome to GhostPepper Lollipop, where the takes are spicy, the host is sweet, and we learn that multiple things can be true at the same time, and often are. Today will be no different. We will be talking about stereotypes, particularly masculine stereotypes that I don't know why y'all men seem to want to try to live up to them when they're damaging you. And all the ways that we discussed last week, they're very harmful. It's very harmful. It's very harmful to the you. Be nice to the you. So, masculine stereotypes are societal projections of how men should behave under the ideal patriarchy, which often emphasize traits like strength, dominance. This one's going to be hard to say because y'all don't have it. We're trying to get it for you, but y'all don't have it. And it's hilarious that they added it to the list. Emotional control. Almost no one in this society comes with that. It's a thing that's learned. And thankfully, part of society is given a little more leeway in the emotional range regard, and so we learn a little more emotional control. Some of us, we got trauma. We got trauma. And sometimes the emotional control, it's harder. It's harder with the trauma. Gentlemen, it's harder with the trauma. Like, it is. I'm just going to tell you that. Also, you still are responsible for your choices and things. And so you still have to comb the beast in the mirror's hair, or it's just going to become more painful for you. Stop self-abusing. You get emotional control through range of expression and acceptance of emotion. It's human to emote, okay? Human. And you are part of the human species. So let's emote together. Now, the other thing is it discourages, these stereotypes discourage vulnerability and emotional expression. Well, emotional expression is how you gain emotional control. It's how you learn what that range is, how you feel through the emotions so that it can naturally pass away. Emotional expression is how you stop sweeping crap down into that volcano that is only so big so that it explodes out into behaviors, whether they be little or big, all around your life, being it's a destructive force. It's a very destructive force. It's like this little, I don't know, I had an analogy and it floated away on the winds, sailing over there somewhere. It is not coming back. We're moving forward. Okay. We discussed how harmful that those stereotypes can be last week. Men often unalive themselves at a higher rate. We saw the statistics on that. Those are not good statistics. And we really need for you to be less self-abusive. The self-abuse is perpetuation of these stereotypes. These stereotypes aren't you. You can't fit into these boxes because you're an entire person. And if one of these things isn't part of who you are as a person, this stereotype is going to fail you, because the people that are still trying to uphold the stereotype, that don't understand there's a way to break free of it, they're going to drag you down, and they're the ones that are going to hurt you. Men hurt each other, and men hurt other people because of these stereotypes. And I'm not just going to, I'm not giving you the not all men. And I'm also going to tell you, men are the ones that teach us this. Y'all are the ones that tell us. Y'all are the ones that tell us not to trust you. Y'all are the ones that tell us you're going to perpetuate these things. Y'all are the ones that do this to yourselves, to each other, and to us. And I'm going to prove it.
that more men would cheat if they had the opportunity. Yes, it is true. So in our data set, we did see that men tend to be more opportunistic. There is a cohort of men who the only reason that they're not cheating is because they think that they would get caught, or because there aren't any women who want to have a short-term fling with them. They're the sort of person who can only really have access to a romantic partner in the context of a long-term committed relationship, and so something like an affair is never going to pass them by. This might be someone who is, not particularly handsome for short-term mating, where it is really looks-based. They don't really have that opportunity, and so they're very loyal, but it's because, no one's approaching them in the bar and saying that they like their hair or something. That opportunity isn't coming out. And so we do see that in some past data. Some men cheat, and when you ask them why, it's literally just because I could, because the opportunity presented itself. This isn't to say that all men would cheat if they could. There are clearly many men who could cheat who don't. However, there are some men who are faithful only because they don't have the opportunity.
Ladies, all men are cheaters, okay? But the problem here is that you're settling for the most basic man.
Every man you've ever been with has cheated. I'm going to tell you that first. Whether they're going to tell you, whether you found out after, before, whenever, they have stepped out of the relationship. Even the guy you with now, he's cheating on me, I guarantee you. It's just a manly thing. Men, we hunters, we gonna hunt.
Don't never be vulnerable in front of your woman. First of all, let's get that out the way. Never be vulnerable in front of your woman because she will leave you.
Never tell a woman your trauma. Never talk to your girlfriend or woman like she's your therapist. Never reveal your true vulnerabilities.
If men were our real selves, they really wouldn't be too much marriage. They'd be a lot of crazy going on. If men were the one at the forefront.
I learned the key to making a relationship last. I did. You just have to do what you did in the beginning to get in the relationship all the way through, and it works out. And remember how relationships start. A relationship starts because a man lies about who he is.
These are honestly some of the mildest ways that y'all tell us. There's a high percentage of men that think it's okay to rape us if there were no consequences for them. There's a high percentage of men that admit to certain types of violence against us when they're pursuing us or in relationships with us. It's too many for us to be able to tell you not all men. You do not carry a flag that says safe, and there would be no way for us to verify that it was true anyway, because so many of y'all tell us that you're safe, and then we get hurt, that we're done doing that. There are no more passes. You get to heal, and we want you to. Truly, all of us want you to heal. All of society wants you to heal. All women, all LGBTQ people, all disabled people, all children want you to heal the trauma that causes the perpetuation of these violences against yourself and us. Everyone wants you to heal. Some people are past being able to say it nicely, because every time we've tried to say this, that it's harming you as well, that it's perpetuating this problem that really hurts us, we keep getting told that we're not saying it right. And that's another stereotype. You're demanding a person that will tell you that these harms exist in a way that you will accept hearing them. I need you to let that sink in for a minute. I need you to sit with that for a minute, because that's the truth. These stereotypes and these problems persist because y'all are mean to each other. There is so much fear of being otherized in the way that the patriarchy demands you otherize yourself and others, that you're afraid of anybody poking at you, and so you continue to perpetuate all of this nonsense, and you continue to self-harm to do it. And we want you to heal. You deserve to heal. You need to heal. Instead of looking at this as like the male loneliness epidemic, and things like that as this epidemic that means that you're losing something or that you're being denied something, that's your privilege talking. Privilege doesn't equate actual power. Go try to stop one of the fascist actions happening right now and see how far your little lonely man privilege gets you. See how much power you actually wield with your little man privilege. But film it, because I want to watch. I really like entertaining things. Editing Pepper here. So the loneliness epidemic thing is also a self-fulfilling thing. Somehow men think that women will solve their loneliness, and that doesn't even happen really if you get married. I mean, you hear men bitch about their partners all the time. The loneliness epidemic is a symptom of this patriarchal self-abuse process where men refuse to have vulnerable, fulfilling, full relationships with anyone, their friends, their moms, their girlfriends, their wives, their kids, their anyone. And so it's part of that like emotional suppression thing. So the men's loneliness epidemic is actually just men refuse to engage the full breadth of human emotion, and so men are lonely because that's what happens when you refuse to be a full human. Y'all tell us, okay? I don't need any of y'all to go in the comments saying whatever, this, that, or the third, because y'all tell us. Those are mild, mellow y'all telling us. I could have played videos for literal days. Okay. So one of these stereotypes is I can't even say it, the tough guy thing. I can't I can't just you're not. Stop. Nobody respects you because you're an asshole. I think I've said that before, but for real though, I know a lot of people are afraid and they're not going to be honest with you about that one, but stop. You just stop hurting yourself. You don't need to do that. Just be a whole person. It's fine. You're a whole person. You can get mad. There can be justifiable anger and things like that. But this tough guy, I'm mad. I boss, I hit you if you don't come the creep on. Like, for real, y'all. Freaking the absurdity. Do you realize how absurd you look? Like, I don't think you do. Oh, my gravy. Independence and self-reliance. Okay, y'all project this independent, self-reliant thing, but I've been married to a man, and I've been pursued by many, dated several. You aren't. You should have some independence, some self-reliance. You should have also, to go with that, some emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, because those things actually are the things you need for real self-reliance and independence. Editing Pepper again. So the independent self-reliance thing, if you're not emotionally taking care of your emotional self, you're not independent or self-reliant. It's a lie you tell yourself. And when you're looking to be assigned a wife who will do all your household chores, you're looking to not ever be independent or self-reliant. And when you're weaponizing incompetence every other moment so that you don't have to do a task, you are not independent or self-reliant. Okay. I mean, you decide how you engage the world. You decide what's acceptable. How you talk to you up here comes out here. So if you say really awful things up here, could come out here. And that's why a lot of that emotional intelligence and emotional maturity stuff has to be on your priority list so that you can heal. That way you can have the independence and self-reliance you want in a real way. Like, not this farcical joke that the patriarchy tells you exists, because that's a projection. It's not real. If somebody walks in front of it, just like if they walk in front of the projectors at the movies, they're going to be a fucking shape in the middle of it, okay? It's not real. You have to work for that. And it's not the kind of, you have to work, pick up the backhoe, let's go crack some earth. It's not that kind of work. It's that hard shit. It's the going into the mirror and looking at that freaking beast in there and going, God, you need taken care of, and doing the taking care of the you beast that's in that mirror. That's the hard stuff. Now, another aspect of the stereotypical BS behaviors are aggression and dominance. And well, I think y'all know how I feel about those. All right, do you want me to laugh at you? I could laugh at you again, but I can't help it. It's just absurd. I have been aggressive person. I have used violence in my life. I am actually quite familiar with violence. I am also a survivor of violence. Having been like a survivor of violence, and the idea that the patriarchy is this thing that we have to continue doing and that men can't change because this is natural, that's not true in any way, shape, or form. And I think that this other creator might say that better than I can.
Patriarchy exists to rig natural evolution such that the weakest and cruelest men can still pass on their genetic characteristics. And I have a lot to say about this, so bear with me because I brought notes. And again, this is a well-supported theory in evolutionary science. So we know that in nature, female selection, especially in social mammal groups, drives the evolution of the species. Females are the gatekeepers of reproduction, and this is true in humans as well when you remove the existence of patriarchy. Females select for mates based on health, stability, access to resources, and social standing. And this filters out unfit males and encourages the evolution of the species towards strength, cooperation, and stability. So patriarchy evolved as a workaround. It emerged when men could no longer guarantee that they could pass on their genes. So they created a system to remove choice from the females. Instead of becoming better potential partners, they created institutions to force access to reproduction. Patriarchy is the furthest thing from natural. Then religion and law codified this system. So think virginity, purity, culture, and marriage. This strips away female autonomy. Then religious doctrine makes this obedience holy, and it makes female pleasure sinful. And then legal systems were created to punish adultery, criminalize it, and punish women who are raped and then trap them in marriage. Because think about who really benefits from a system that operates like this. It's only the males who are emotionally unavailable, who are violent, who are narcissistic, who are entitled and insecure, who would not survive the natural selection process. So instead of adapting, these men just weaponized control. Patriarchy limits human flourishing. It literally dooms our species. When women can't choose their partners freely, and by freely I mean free of a patriarchal system in which we were all raised, entire populations ultimately suffer. And this is well backed by data, so I'm going to look at it. In communities where women do not get to choose their partners freely, there are higher rates of abuse, trauma, and mental illness, lower emotional intelligence in children, and societies that are built on dominance, not connection, which ultimately falter and fail.
So we can see from like the history that the rejection of femininity is just a aspect of the control that certain men wanted because they weren't being chosen. And sometimes being chosen takes work, my lovelies. I mean, sometimes to be with people, you have to kind of show them that you're trustworthy. Sometimes some people have some discernment and they're like, I only want to be around trustworthy people. And if you're not showing them that, they don't want to be around you. What do I know? I mean, don't listen to me. So there was a time because of this, that men wanting to hold on to that control and like take back the control and feel masculine and manly again, they sent women home after the war and told them, all right, you're housewives and moms now. And that's how their little nuclear family came. And how the perpetuation of this nonsense, this provider nonsense came about. even though, financial provisions isn't providing everything. A family doesn't run on money alone, my friendlies, my lovelies. It does not. It does not. There is a lot of work that goes into a household, and a lot of hours go into keeping a house running. And so the idea that they were supposed to manage financially has carried forward in a time when it just doesn't make sense anymore. And that's because capitalism is in overdrive, and we can't survive on one person households. So that emotional or that labor to get the finances covered can't be done by one person anymore. And men have been told and taught that that's their role. And so there's this aspect of feeling like they're failing. And I want you to understand that we get it. And also, there's always been a gap in the labor. You were never providers. You were financial providers. And there is a difference because it sometimes comes down to the hours worked. And when we're talking hours worked, the hours of domestic labor have to be counted as well. And so we took a little averaging thing. We just took a thing and averaged out some things. I probably should have used 2.5 hours here, but it's whatever. It's just some random average numbers that I pulled because this is about what you get off in my experience. Some people probably get more, some people probably get none. So the time off thing really doesn't matter until we come into like society today. What counts and what matters is up here. So even while the men were doing their financial provision here, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, for a total of 2,080 hours. This is the average of what the hours would come out to of the average housewife's work. This is what your grandmother was expected to do. There's a roughly 3,000 hour difference, if you will notice that. Is that really providing? Did you provide? Did they provide? Did Grandpa provide? Because he didn't provide any of the emotional labor. I know mine didn't. He didn't provide any of the child care. I know mine didn't. I mean, maybe with the grandkids, but I mean, we were cute and squishy and he didn't have to. Now it's really unfortunate because women are expected to do all of these and these hours as well. So that's roughly, a woman's already doing roughly 5,292 hours. And then in today's time, she has to do 2,080 more on top of that. Because in late stage capitalism, we can't survive on one parent households or one person households most of the time. And so everyone has to work. And yet these labors have not changed from being women's work or women's duties. When you're doing a partnership and we have an equal split or there's a discussion about how that split will be done, then it's fine. And that's one thing. When you're expecting this and the person doesn't get any days off except for, you got that Mother's Day weekend down here. We're counting up that Mother's Day weekend really, really fucking hard here. To give these piddly little hours off every year. And that's per year. Like I did the time off per year. I did everything per year. So if you notice, these numbers really not that different, especially if you're considering that's a year. So I sort of messed up on that graph chart just a little bit. And the childcare hours should actually be 4,380 because we should be taking about 12 hours per day for childcare and not 5. I was going on the low end. You see how those hours can get big really fast, especially for a housewife, how a housewife is expected to do all of that. And if we add like a nursing baby, like these hours can go up. Make no mistake, 4,380 is still not a very high number considering. So with that, we can close the idea out of a provider. There's no provider role. And that stereotype is only doing harm to your mental health and your relationship health. The health of your relationships is being damaged by the fact that you continuously tell yourself you're supposed to be something that, especially in today's society with the way capitalism is, you can't be. And because multiple things are true at the same time, it was never enough anyway. If we're being really honest, if we're being really real, it was never a balanced scale anyway. Now, another stereotypical behavior that men tend to play into that causes them and often others harm is risk-taking behavior. Masculine stereotypes encourage a lot of risky behaviors, and then it encourages men to seek out situations where there's going to be higher risk. Oftentimes, men end up trying to play to that role in that stereotype in such a way that they become the aggressor to some innocent person near, just so that they can look tough and appealing to somebody else. And you don't. You don't. Just because people want to get out of the room with you before you do violence doesn't mean they respect you. They don't. So some of these risky behaviors are substance use, which we know is called self-medication also. Self-medication is done because, well, pain. So consider that. Risky sexual behaviors, unprotected sex, among other things. You know the risks, and you don't always protect yourselves and others from them. Gambling, extreme sports, dangerous driving, the adrenaline junkie sort of things that men are told make them tough or strong, which really just, I don't know, are adrenaline inducing and therefore make you a little high on brain chemicals more than anything else. As a former bit of an adrenaline junkie, high on brain chemicals, kind of fun, not gonna lie. Probably not helpful to sustaining our lives long term though. And oftentimes men will engage with some of the riskier behaviors in a more dramatic way or a more dangerous way. And your life is not worth the impression that you give to another man. It really isn't. Your life is worth more than impressing some man. I promise you. I really do. You don't have to. You don't have to impress that man. He's not really important. And whatever that man is telling you that you need to be something else or do something else, that you need to go drive like a absurd fool. Okay, don't go driving like me. I have been a reckless, ridiculous, adrenaline junkie driver. So I'm just gonna own that one. And the reckless behaviors may be adding to some of the trauma stuff. I mean, if you're doing reckless things and risking your health and your life, it could be definitely adding to the trauma stuff. And it's really not going to help. And also, well, it's definitely not going to get you respect. It really isn't. So let's look again at some information regarding patriarchy and the actual evolution of humanity.
Can't evolve. It's that the system of patriarchy and the institutions in that system were specifically designed to stunt human evolution. This is why the phrase marriage is DEI for men sinks so deep for me. The institution of marriage was originally created so that every man had a chance to procreate. And when all men are procreating, that means all genes, good or bad, are being passed on to future generations. Something that Mother Nature did not intend. So if you're a man and you're upset that women aren't sleeping with you, women are only doing what they always would have done if they were allowed to live as Mother Nature had intended. Your mom, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, 17 generations back, all of those women would have picked better, or no one had they rights to do so. Had we been using natural selection like what we were meant to do, the world population would be like 2 million people. And most of the problems that we see today in our world wouldn't exist. Climate change, war, famine. The patriarchy is a social mutation that has quite literally devastated the human species. So I guess you could say all of the problems you see in the world today are because men desperately wanted to smash. And I'm so happy that women all around the world are waking up to this and realizing that they have the power to choose the next generation and which genes are allowed to be in the next gene pool. Keep that birth rate dropping, ladies. Love you.
Telling y'all aren't able to fix it or change or become like safe members of society certainly is an easy out to not have to do that work, isn't it? It really is. It really is. It's kind of funny how y'all keep being given that. That one, I'm just going to leave that one there. Like, y'all are the ones that tell us. Remember that. And those were mild ones that I showed you earlier. Mild options of how y'all tell us and what y'all tell us. So, your stereotypes, they're really harmful. We discussed last week the mental health effects, and the mental health effects, whether we discuss this as a society or honest about it or not, often have physical health ramifications. They can harm your heart, or if you're engaging those risky self-abusive behaviors, maybe you're ingesting too much alcohol or doing some sort of dangerous drugs or something without medical supervision, or just being reckless with your life, or, maybe you just start having heart issues or blood pressure issues or other stress issues and have a heart attack or a stroke because of the stress level. That can happen as well. Our mental health very much is tied to our physical health, even though that isn't often discussed. And when we're just ignoring the mental health things, oftentimes we won't know when the physical health things are tied to them. It also, these stereotypes and engaging in them, they damage your relationships. They make it harder for people to want to engage you, and they make it harder for people to want to engage with kindness or respect. And I hear a lot of the times where men are upset at the way women are coming at it or the way we're saying things, et cetera, et cetera. And we've tried nice. There are no perfect victims, and there are no perfect perpetrators, and there is no perfect way to express your pain. And so many people have tried kindness before that they're sick of trying it. And I understand that sucks. It really does. It really does. It sucks. Because you weren't the one that they tried it on. And that feels so suck. And that's why I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. You deserve to heal. I really believe it is a trauma thing, and I really, really want to see you be able to improve your relationships, because you're a part of the human species and you deserve to have a good interaction with other humans. We discussed the rate that men unalive themselves, and it's absolutely unacceptably high, and we have to work on that. And that is most definitely a symptom of trauma. And we most definitely already know that that is. And so that's something we can look at. We can actually be honest about what's causing that trauma and help men. And I found an organization called Men Engage that I would like to start looking into more. And it looks like the thing that we're talking about. It looks like the spaces where there's checks and accountability and discussions about how those stereotypes and all of these patriarchal things affect you directly. These stereotypes limit your social roles. It limits how you get to engage with your fellow people. It interrupts and affects how you engage in partnership with others. And that's one of the things that's causing issues currently. Oftentimes they say that there are certain job roles that are more masculine or manly, like construction, agriculture, engineering, infantry soldier, butcher, marine and fishing, firefighter, aviation, automotive. They're trying to limit you. They're trying to stuff you in a box and say, well, you can only do these things, regardless of what you're good at, regardless of what you're passionate about, regardless of how you could actually affect your society for the better. And those are the things that y'all have to take back. Instead of looking at all of this change and all of this refusal of women and non-binary people and others, our refusal to take this shit anymore shouldn't make you go into a tailspin and a spiral. And I know that that's hard, and a lot of people aren't telling you why. And here's why. Everything that this patriarchal, stereotypical society wants you to do in order to be manly is just self-abuse. It's just a way that they get you to hurt you so that they can use you as a tool or as a cog. And that's not fair, and that's not right. And so you get to take this time where we're saying it has to change, and you get to mold the future man. You get to redesign. And come on, don't tell me men haven't been redesigned before. I mean, fashion has. Nail polish designed for men, warrior men to brag about their conquests. High heels invented to make men's butts look good. All right, men have been divas before. And if you want to be divas again, let's go. I am here for your actual liberation from misogyny and patriarchy and self-abusive behaviors that make you a cog in a machine that is broken and going to make us extinct as a species if we don't take care of it and fix it. Let's challenge those stereotypes. Let's promote some emotional expression. Let's emote together. Let's encourage that. Let's celebrate when somebody is able to be vulnerable, because it is increasingly difficult in this society. And doing that expression, that emotional expression, that is what teaches us our emotional range, feeling our emotions fully and letting them come through us and leave naturally. That helps us process them in a way that makes it so we don't have to live in them, or so that we're not stuffing them in a barrel that they're going to just creep out of in ways that we can't see. And they do in behaviors that we don't always notice. Those things that we stuff into the barrel, they creep back out when that barrel starts getting full, and they creep out in the form of behaviors that we might not necessarily like ourselves for. And it just forms a new mat in that mirror person's hair that we have to address and work on cleaning out and cleaning up and combing out later. So let's work on encouraging and emoting in a full way. And it's hard. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you it's not. It is hard. Some emotions are hard. Some emotions are amazing, and you should feel those fully too. If you find joy and it's bordering elation, let yourself go to elation. It's okay to be elated. That's not just for women and girls or children. Elation is for you too. And it releases a lot of really cool brain chemicals that I think you're going to dig. So let yourself go there. I know it feels scary, but I promise it's worth the ride. Take yourself on that ride. Emotional expression is hard sometimes when you're not taught how to do it and not taught boundaries and stuff. But there's places like Men Engage where you can go talk, and you'll be able to talk with us. And there are lots of resources online. And if you can find a therapist that you trust to be vulnerable with, then you should look for one. Going to therapy and like doing dialectics and things saved me from my trauma. And what y'all do and the behaviors you express, it looks a lot like trauma. It really just, it looks a lot like trauma. So we're going to also challenge gender norms because it ain't normal. I mean, it's just not. I'm not even going to give it any validity. It's not normal. It's something made up to make sure that men that weren't getting laid would be able to get laid. That's it. It's not normal. It has no validity, and I'll give it none. We're going to promote healthy masculinity, and that comes with just talking better to yourself. Don't tell yourself you're POS or whatever, because what you put in comes back out. Tell yourself good things. And remember, every time you say a bad thing, you're still saying 2 good things to yourself every time. It's how you break that chain. It's how you break that habit. Also, just do it. Don't argue with me. Don't argue with me. Break the chain. Say 2 good things. Promoting healthy masculinity is going to lead to a decrease in those behaviors and an increase in joy all the way around. Also, media representation. We have so much problematic media, and a lot of it ages like milk. Without problematic media, some of us would have none. In fact, there's a whole population of our society that would have 0 media if it weren't for really bad media. And there's like a couple of things. And so we have to be honest. We have to be honest about the portrayal that is going on in our media. That doesn't mean we don't get to enjoy our media. It just means be honest about your media. Be honest with yourself. When we're honest about it and we're really honest about everything that we see, we're more likely to challenge ourselves to find a solution for the problem. And we find more creative solutions that way. We are a creative species. And when we are properly socializing, we are capable of immense things. I know we are. We wouldn't still be here if we weren't. It's going to be hard to overcome all of these stereotypes, and it's going to be hard to heal. It's been a journey for me in my trauma healing, and it's going to be a journey for men to heal. I think that working on it and being honest that you need to, and that you deserve to heal, and that you deserve to break free of those chains that the society has put on you, I think you're going to find a happier life after that. And with that, and my hope that you actually do work on your healing, because you do deserve it. You're 1 in 800 billion, baby. You got work to do. You got stuff on this world. You can do things. You're capable. You got this. I believe in you. I'm gonna believe in you until you believe in you. With that, I want you to remember 2 good things for every 1 bad that you say to yourself, because the way you talk to you here will come out here. And I really appreciate y'all for hanging out and listening to me go on. And I know that some of this was hard, and some of you made it all the way to the end. So pom-poms for you, celebration for you. Okay, I've celebrated you in the silliest manner imaginable. I will see you next week. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I will put the new voicemail line in the bottom, and we will soon have a phone line too. We're like 2 weeks away. So voicemail line in the bottom. If you want to say something, I will try to remember to respond. So voicemail thing will be in description. All right, y'all. I'll see you next week. Have a good week.